All right, behold, in all of its glory, this has been my Saturday afternoon project. This is a repack and a rebuild of a Windows 98 computer in a slightly more modern case. So this is a very sleek, simple black case. New power supply with LED fan. And this is all the handiwork of what went into packing this stuff here. You can see that all the leads for the panel connectors here, they've all been routed underneath the motherboard, kind of hidden under the chassis. This is the power in this corner right here. Right here, that is the power connection to the rear case fan, which has also been routed underneath the motherboard, so you can't see that. The power cable from the power supply to the motherboard also kind of routed. So trying to have as minimal visible wires inside the case as possible, even though you won't see them once the case is closed. But this is a far cry from PC building in the 90s where you had so many wires and cables and everything here. You kind of had to stomp on them all just to get the cover back on. Fairly clean. There's definitely cleaner builds, but this isn't terribly bad. Here's a nice little modern upgrade too. You can kind of see under this ribbon cable here for the hard drive. This is actually a Samsung solid state SATA hard drive. And I've got an adapter that converts the old wide ribbon cables from the old hard drives to work on the modern SATA connectors. And I have one optical drive in here, and these are actually hard to get in new cases that actually support optical drives because nobody uses these things anymore. So to find a new case that supported at least one drive was a challenge. And then from the back here, you can kind of see where everything's at. This is a 3DFX Voodoo 3000 graphics card, gaming accelerated graphics card, Sound Blaster Live 5.1. This was the bomb diggity back in the day. This is some of the standard built-in sound from the motherboard, which I won't be using. The classic PS2 keyboard and mouse connections, old printer, parallel ports, serial ports. This did not have a game port connector on there, but there are old school game port connectors on the sound card. Actually got built-in 10100 Ethernet that does work, 4 USB ports, and something that the other case had that didn't support. But this case actually has USB ports on the top, and I actually do have those panel connectors connected to the motherboard over here. So I actually will have access to a few more USB ports that I did not have in the original case. So this is what the build looks like. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fire it up and see how it looks. I got this power supply because the other case power supply was getting really noisy. So I had to get a new one anyway, so I figured if I'm gonna get a new power supply, I'm gonna get a new case. I believe this fan actually lights up, kind of LED lights. I'm not sure if the case fan does or not, I don't remember. But we'll find out in a minute when I power this puppy up. All right, so yeah, it powers up, and yes, the power supply fan has got the cool little LED light show. And the back fan here does not appear to be illuminated, and that's okay. That's not the end of the world. And yeah, we are booted up into our good old-fashioned BIOS screen here. So let's get out of here and let's make sure that we can actually boot up. And let's look at Windows 98 in all its freaking glory in a brand new case. Right, so this is an Athlon XP 2200. And boom, look at that. Windows 98. This is actually Windows 98 second edition for those who care. But yeah, no, this is great, man. The case is cool. The case looks pretty modern. Having a little bit of a funky light going on there is kind of cool. And yeah, booting up in the glorious glory days. I'll do one more video when I put the case together because the side panel's got a little mini grill in the side to actually have another case fan, but I wanted to at least leave that one open so we can kind of see the glory lights coming through there. So let's look at the final build once we button this puppy up. For dramatic effect, we're turning it on in the dark. Listen to that startup sound, huh? Music to the ears. We can actually see some of the color bleeding through the front grille from the power supply LED fan. And on the, now that the side panel's on the case, we can also see the kind of light show going on inside there. There's only a single RGB fan right now, and that's in the exhaust fan of the power supply. But it's a cool little effect, so that's why I figured I would just leave this thing here as a kind of little window into the light show. You can actually see it pretty cool back here too in the back of the case. So there's your power supply there. There's all the crazy lights. Here's your fan cooling case here. I think like a lot of people, man, this thing looks really good in the dark. But it's a cool looking case. And we'll go ahead and fire it up. Let's turn the lights on now too. Closing time. All right, so yeah, this is the case. I think it looks pretty cool for a slightly moderner build and look, and it's actually got a working, this is actually a DVD burner, so don't be jealous, don't hate, appreciate. But yeah, we got the DVD burner going on there. We got our awesome Dell flat panel with built-in stereophonic speaker sound bar. We got our frickin' light shows going on here. And to leave you with, and to play us out, one of the funnest things I used to love to do back in the 90s, let's listen to some awesome MIDI music.